Hey, this is Mike Aloia with American Hearts Radio Entertainment Network, and I am so honored to be here with Councilman Terrence Freeman here in Jacksonville, Florida. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic, and I appreciate the warm invite, and I truly enjoy myself today.
Well, you know what? Hands and Feet Foundation is a unbelievable ministry. They follow the true teachings of Jesus Christ. Fellowship daily. They're getting addicts into rehab, veterans off the street, getting them into housing, getting people jobs. There's miracles that are happening every day right here, and for you to be here is a true blessing, sir.
Well, I'll tell you, shortly after coming into office, I had the privilege of meeting James and learning more, and I'm still learning of all of the great things that his organization is doing here in Jacksonville and the other organizations as well. And it's important to me that the folks that are on the ground doing this work, that I get out and meet them and learn more about how I can help them from my position in government. Truly, we know that it's going to take all of us to come together to solve a lot of the problems that we're facing throughout our communities.
Well, I tell you, sir, the main reason you're here today is for the kids, correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, former educator myself, as a principal at a Christian school and taught in it for 12 years, son of a preacher, brother's a preacher. My foundation is in God and in faith, and kids are my purpose for living. Kids are the purpose for me getting into this world of politics. So when I had an opportunity to meet these young men today and to learn a little bit about their journeys in life, I often believe that they're good kids. They're just making some bad decisions, and how can we capture them and catch those that have fallen and help them get back up, stand them up, and give them the tools that they need to prevent themselves from making those same types of decisions. So looking forward to our next stop after this meeting today, after feeding the homeless here at lunch, and going into their world a little more and learning more about their journey back into society.
So you're headed to Duval Academy.
Yes,
after
sir.
there. And what steps is City Council taking to harness the youth?
There are a lot of steps. I mean, and not enough time in this little interview to really disclose it, but
yes.
you look at, we just recently started Cure Violence, which is a $750,000 we put into a program that is bringing in some folks from outside of Jacksonville that are coming in, training the folks, the small organizations that deal with preventative measures for crime, violent crime, training them on how to get out and get ahead of these retaliations of violent acts. That's one measure. You have our Kids Hope Alliance that does after-school training, does the summer training and programming to really try to prevent the summer slide, give our kids some resources and educational opportunities outside of the regular school hours. But then on top of that, that's the government side. There are numerous not-for-profits that are out there doing an amazing work in our city. And I'm going to do my best over these next 4 years to try to get to every last one of them, if not anything other than to say I love you and I'm supporting you, or figure out how I can help from my position.
That's beautiful. You know, there's not enough love and compassion out there, and a lot of these young kids are coming from broken families. A lot of parents that are addicts. You know, parents that are locked up, and a lot of kids don't have any direction. And you know, I'm just grateful that finally people are starting to step up. People like you that want to make a difference and want to, you know, touch these kids' lives to make sure they're not out there on the streets selling drugs and things like that. What has been your experience growing up? And as you were a young age, were you a little wild when you were?
I often say I don't have that glamorous story. I had two parents at home, both college grad. Mom was a social worker and dad was a pastor. But I think a better question would be, was I exposed to the same distractions that these young kids are going through today? And absolutely. Yes. I did have an older brother that spent 7 years in state penitentiary for trafficking drugs.
Wow.
I did have a cousin that lived in the house with us that sold drugs, and had numerous acquaintances or friends that just made some good kids, honor roll kids, but they just made some bad decisions. Yeah. I don't think I was any different from the average child of facing some challenges. Now to your topic of the broken home, that is the home this day and age. And so for me, it's now not about the structure of that home, it's about the support structure outside of it. So where there are voids that I might not have had growing up, where we recognize it in these kids' lives, how are we fulfilling or filling that void to make sure that they have what they need to keep them on that right track. And that's my purpose for living right now.
Well, I know a lot of younger kids, there's a lot of youth, there's a revival of Christianity going on, but a lot of people are turned away from churches because, a lot of them are being shunned, or they're scared, or the churches are, all about, just coming to church and not doing anything, and once a week. The rest of the week, they're not doing anything, It's just, and I think here at Hands and Feet, this is so transparent. They're out there on the street. What's your feeling about hopefully getting other ministries to tear down the walls?
Right. Well, I haven't experienced any church that's turned folk away, but I will say that I do understand, growing up in this Christian environment, that we all have different callings in our lives. So I celebrate those that feel compelled to go out and meet kids. I celebrate the ones that feel compelled to go to senior centers. I celebrate the ones that feel compelled to go missions across overseas or missions in our backyard. I think we all have different callings and paths. So for me, it's an honor when I get a chance to just partner with them, whatever walk or season they're in their ministry, to see them continue to do that purpose and what they were called to do by God. So that's kind of my view on it. And I just hope that we just have more organizations like the one I'm visiting today doing the good work.
How long have you been involved with politics?
I was appointed 10 months ago.
10 months ago.
Yeah.
What compelled you to run for city
I
council?
wanted to serve more kids.
Wanted to serve more kids, make a difference out there, and that's where it's going to happen, is where you got to deal with the makers and shakers, huh?
Yes,
Well, what's your message to someone that's maybe watching this, that's in the darkness in their life?
Yeah.
What's the message to that person?
Seek light. There are organizations like the one I'm at today, or numerous ones provided from a city perspective or state, that are there with their arms open wide. Sometimes it takes groups like this that actually go out and meet people where they're at. But just know you're loved. There's hope. There's someone that believes in you, and you continue to pray that your encounter, if it's not today, happens tomorrow, because we're not going to give up on you.
It's beautiful. And you love Jesus, huh?
Amen.
Amen, baby.
Amen to that.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman, so much for your time. I know you've got things to do, and I just want to say God bless you and your family, sir.
Thank you so much. You have a good one.
You too.